Hello, it's Myra, and today we're finishing up the main trio by going over Q. Q is. She's great. I really love writing her as well as drawing her. She's got the whole package. She can be adorable, she can be really wise, and she's so lovable. She's the best lizard you've ever seen. Okay, I don't really have much else to say, so we'll just go ahead and get into it. Glacicidus are, like vampires, creatures that were made by the Watcher in order to help balance the world's natural energy because it was threatening to implode on itself. So, the word Glacicidus roughly translates to glass lizard. This is because their horns and tail and teeth are all very glass-like. When they fill up with mana, they start to glow with a liquid-like substance, which is mana in its absolute purest form in a condensed area. So this mana will glow different colors depending on the type of Glacicidus. You've got the forest Glacicidus, which glow blue, the desert, which glow orange, and the glacial, which glow green. Now, you might be wondering, why is Q green like she belongs in the forest, but her horns and tail are orange? This is because she's actually mixed. Her father was a forest Glacicidus who lived in the Forbidden Forest, and he went to the desert to explore and ended up having Q with one of the desert dwellers there. After he had Q and she began to grow rapidly, he realized that she was a queen variation. Queens in the Glacicidus world are somewhat like the queen bees and queen ants. They don't exist to have children, they don't create their own colonies like that, but they do tend to have leadership qualities, and they're bigger and stronger. Glacicidus are very small species. They usually are about 3 to 4 feet tall, but queens can grow anywhere from 5 to 6 feet tall, and this gives them more room to absorb mana, so they're naturally stronger. So, realizing that he had such a powerful child, Q's dad went back to his tribe in the Forbidden Forest and thought that he would be able to get a place of power because of her. However, he was killed for being a so-called traitor for leaving. So that left Q without a parental figure, and she had to grow up on her own, facing the dire circumstances of having everyone be hostile towards her. But when she grew up, she used a lot of her knowledge that she learned in the desert colonies, where they would work together due to the scarcity of resources, and they had a tight-knit community and shared knowledge. So Q wanted to replicate this and started uniting the tribes under her leadership. It wasn't perfect, she had to coerce a lot of them with her power, but she did create a much more stable environment and with a lot less infighting. So after Q united everything, she began to wonder about the outside world, and this was around the time when she found a small vampire named Allura seeking shelter. Although her forest is called the Forbidden Forest, not everyone is deterred by that name. And luckily Allura came to the right place, because Q took her in and also learned from her about the outside world. After Allura grew up and left, Q realized that she still had a lot more she wanted to learn and began contemplating on leaving the forest altogether. Luckily, or unluckily for her, she met Lena and Vent. Lena decided that although she wasn't looking for Q would be a good person to invest in, and decided to offer to guide her around the cities. Q was a little cautious at first, but realizing that Lena had also been raising a vampire, which Q knew was not something that most people did, she decided that Lena was actually probably a good person, and decided to take her up on that offer. After leaving her tribesmen with a temporary leader and some wise words, she ended up leaving with Lena and Vin. So, Glass and Kidis in the modern times are actually called the Consumption. This is because that they can turn anything into pure mana and eat it. And also, whatever they touch with their teeth, they can inject mana directly into or take it directly out of, causing mana poisoning. So, that's where they get their name Consumption. But Lena and Vin are pretty used to putting themselves near dangerous individuals. I mean, Lena contacts demons all the time. So they treat Q just like anyone else, and Q really appreciates that. But she is a little off-put on Lena's lack of empathy for others at times. Because Q spends all of her life going against her instinct to eat everything with a high mana value, while Lena's over here stealing just because she doesn't want to spend a few extra coins, or burning down a place because someone harshly insulted her. So they don't always get along, but Q's generally pretty friendly and open-minded. She also can be pretty wise when she's not short-circuited over something she doesn't quite understand. It can be a little easy to forget she's probably thousands of years old. But yeah, in the end, Q and Vin get along pretty well. They both think Lena's a little unhinged sometimes. But unlike Vin, Q has a lot of hope for Lena, and she sees the good in her, as well as her anguish at what she's doing. So, she ends up being a lot of help towards both Lena and Vin, and they both end up really appreciating that she's in their life. So, feel good all around. And that's all we've got for Q. She's great, love her so much. Lena, I still love Lena a lot too, but Q is a pretty close favorite. But yeah, Q, one thing I did leave out with Q is that she can't exactly shapeshift, but her body isn't completely stable, so she can grow wings and turn into a pseudo-dragon sort of form. But it's more her body just being kind of unstable than pure shapeshifting like how Lena does. But you could probably call it shapeshifting too if you wanted. Like, I wouldn't correct you on that. But I think that's everything. Yeah. Don't forget to eat, drink, and take your meds. And I hope you have been blessed with good lizard vibes today. I'll see you next time.